Welcome to Conversations with Saints, a space to seek wisdom and hope from those who have walked the path of faith before us. I'm your host, Vale Caritas. In this series, we hope to connect with the timeless stories of the saints, not as ancient history, but as living testimony for our modern lives. Our first guest is a woman whose life has often been reduced to a single label, but whose true story is one of profound transformation and unwavering love. It is an immense honor to welcome Saint Mary Magdalene.
Thank you for this beautiful invitation. It is a joy to be with you.
Mary, thank you for being here. For centuries, many people have only known you as the sinner or the woman with a past, but that is a single chapter, not the whole book. How would you describe who you were before you met Jesus? Before I met him, I was a story told by others, a reputation whispered in the marketplace. I carried a deep brokenness inside, a thirst that no well could quench. I was searching for value in places where it could not be found, and so I felt invisible. I was known for my faults, but my heart remained unseen. I was a ghost, haunting the edges of my own life. That feeling of being unseen is so painful, and so many women today can relate to it. When your life began to change, what did an ordinary day look like traveling with Jesus and the disciples?
An ordinary day was beautifully simple. There was a great deal of walking, and our feet were often dusty and tired. We would find a place to rest, share whatever bread and fish we had, and we would listen. The simplest moments often held the most profound teachings. We women, we tended to the practical needs, yes, but we were also disciples. We sat at his feet, learning and absorbing every word. Each day was a lesson in humility, in community, and in finding the sacred in a shared meal and a quiet conversation. That sounds like a life-altering education. As you were transformed, how did the people who knew your past react to this new person you were becoming? Some looked at me with old eyes, suspicious, waiting for the woman they used to know to reappear. They could not believe that a person could truly be made new. Others, strangers, saw a peace in my eyes they could not explain. But truly, the only gaze that mattered was his. He never once looked at me and saw my past. He only ever saw me, the woman I was created to be. That was my anchor in the storm of their opinions. That's incredibly powerful. My last question is for the women listening today. What would you say to those who feel used, discarded, or defined by their mistakes? To the women who feel unseen in our world? Oh, to my dear sisters, please hear this. You are seen, not for your scars, but for your soul. You are not the sum of your worst moments. You are not defined by what has been done to you, or by the choices that brought you pain. You are a beloved child of God, worthy of a love so profound it can heal any wound and make all things new. Do not believe the whispers that say you are discarded. You are cherished. Your story is not over. The most beautiful part is just beginning. Mary, your story moves through the deepest shadow and into the most glorious light. You were there at the cross, and you were the first to see him in the garden. Can you take us there, to that moment of utter devastation and the dawn that followed? The cross. To speak of it is to feel the ground shake again. It was the end of everything. The sky grew dark, and with it all hope vanished. To see the one who was pure love, who had looked at me and truly seen me for the first time in my life, broken and bleeding, it was an agony beyond words. We huddled together, the other women and I, our grief a silent, shattering scream. We thought it was over. We thought love had lost. The silence of that Saturday was the loudest sound I had ever heard. It was the sound of a world without its heart. And then, the dawn. I went to the tomb in the early morning light, carrying my spices and my sorrow, needing to perform one last act of love. To find the stone rolled away, it was not relief, it was confusion, a final cruel trick. I stood there, weeping, when a man I thought was the gardener asked me why I was crying, and then he said my name, Mary. In an instant, the world was reborn. The garden was no longer a place of burial, but of birth. The silence was broken not by a sound, but by a presence. It was a joy so overwhelming it felt like my heart would burst. It was a love that had conquered death itself.